He's typing, so let me see what he has to say. So anyway, my nope, same thing. Huh. All right, let me see if I can help him. I know if I click the link it'll work, so that won't help me. I'm not sure how else to help him. Let's see. That's the only other thing I see to do. Did you have any difficulties at all, Larry?
Nope. Clicked on the link and opened the Zoom and
Yeah. And he's been on it before, so I imagine he knows that part. He's trying to type something back. Hmm. Oh, technology. It's a wonderful thing when it works right.
can he hear us?
What did you say, Larry?
Can he hear us?
Oh, I don't think he can. He's not on yet. He says it
Oh,
won't let him in.
oh,
So I gave him the link again and the passcode if he needed it. Most people I don't think need a passcode. And then I asked him, what's actually happening? What's it telling you or doing when you try? And he says he can't get on, but I haven't got an answer yet. He just said, nope, same thing. Well, what is the same thing? What's happening?
oh, I see. You're talking over on the Facebook thing.
It says I get two messages. One is to copy, and the other one is asking for a meeting number, not the passcode you gave me.
Well,
Huh.
there's a meeting number and a passcode. So you got to put the meeting. Usually it asks for the meeting number first. And then after you click on that, you give it the passcode.
All right, let me give him this. But I don't think he's needed that before. I'm going to have to. Now, have you always had to put the meeting ID in?
No, I may have one time or the other, but most of the time I just click on the
Click
link.
on the link. That's the way I want to make it as easy as possible.
But
So I got
also,
to figure out what I can do on my end to try to make it easier because,
I think it depends on whether you're using the app on your computer or you're using it on the web.
oh,
So if you're using
you're
it out
probably
within a
right, Larry.
if you're using it within a browser, it might act different. If you're using it on your phone, it acts different.
All righty.
I gave him meeting ID and passcode again and asked him if he's using the same browser or device to access it as usual. We'll see if that gives him any clues. So is your daughter still there now? Is she going to be there for a little while?
Yeah, she's here till I think she's talking about going up to my son's. We're meeting him part way tonight for dinner, so I'll have two out of three kids together.
Nice.
We're going back to the same place we went last Saturday after we visited the state park.
Oh, cool.
because we really liked it.
Now, is your son a father also yet, or?
Yeah, he's got 3 kids, and
Wow.
they'll be along. 6, 3, and his birthday was in May, so he's a little over a year.
Oh, how cool.
Um, I got a picture of the second one, the 3-year-old, when he was in Florida. He had French fries sticking out of his mouth like a walrus.
Oh my.
And last Saturday, I could, if I had my camera out, I could have got a picture of his little brother doing just about exactly the same thing.
Oh, wouldn't that have been great?
French fries sticking out of his mouth. Maybe I'll
How
have my
cool
camera
is
ready
that?
today and see if I can catch him doing the same thing
That'd be wonderful.
at about the same age. So
I'm kind of watching you in
she's
a
gonna
mini
go up to
screen.
my
Oh, I think he's just made it on.
she's gonna make it up to my son's on about Wednesday and stay for a couple of days. Then she's meeting my other daughter and my other grandson in Chicago.
Wonderful. Hey, Forrest, did you figure out what was happening?
Yeah, I'm thinking this is an indication that maybe I'm not included in this meeting because
That's not true at all.
every time I
Actually,
have
if you didn't figure it out, I'm going to work on it before next week and see if I can figure out how to make it easier. Because I want it to you just to be able to click a link and you're there, not have to jump through any hoops.
yeah, because I needed a meeting number and I finally got it, but it wasn't easy. I'll put it that way. It's not. I'm used to Zoom, but yeah, this is interesting.
Huh. I wonder why. Now, have you always had to go through that the other times you joined?
Well, each time is different, Steve.
Hmm.
I
And
you know,
and you're
like
using the same computer and the same
yeah,
browser?
I'm using my iPad because that's the only I can use my iPhone, but I like my iPad because it's bigger.
Right, and that is what you usually sign in with is
Yeah,
your iPad, isn't it?
right. Yeah. But
Okay.
every time is different. I've not gotten on any time the same. I'll put it that way.
I'll do some research on it between now and next week
No
and see if I
problem.
can discover a way that makes it easier because that's the way I'd like it, as easy as possible. What about you? You got anything going on for Father's Day?
Um, oh, go ahead, guys.
No, I was saying, I don't even remember, Forrest. You're a father, aren't you? Do you have
Yeah,
children?
yeah. I got one son.
Yeah. You doing anything special for Father's Day?
No, he's down in El Paso. So,
Okay. Larry's been planting, if I'm not mistaken, just short of 500 flowers with his daughter.
oh wow.
Well,
I'm just, I'm just,
I only helped with the last 160 or so.
I'm just fixing a porch swing. That's all I'm doing. This project for this afternoon.
Yeah. My wife said she's going to be very disappointed in our daughters if they didn't call me today for Father's Day. I told her they didn't need to, and one of them texted me, and the other one, speak of the devil, there she is trying to call me now. Then the other one sent me a Facebook message, and but she sent me a text earlier in the week that made me cry because I had to explain something to her. But let me pause myself for just a minute. You guys keep talking. I want to ask my wife a favor.
No problem.
Keep your daughter busy for an hour, huh?
Well, how you doing, Larry?
Pretty good. Weather's nice today for planting flowers, and so we didn't get too grubby out there. We got about, I don't know, a quarter acre of this lot is just flowers.
Cool.
They're wildflowers mainly and perennials, and sometimes we throw some annual seeds out in there, but or my wife does 99% of it, but I help some. I certainly put a lot of baking work into setting it up way back about 15 years ago.
Cool.
Of course, we had to do it over again. I don't think we would have done it the same way, but
Well, I'm glad that you're not in Florida having to do that, Larry. We're like at about 105 or 108 in heat index, and that's no kind of temperature to be planting flowers in.
well, it's been really pleasant here the last week in the 70s down into the 60s.
Perfect.
And got some rain, which we really needed. And I haven't had to water my vegetable garden hardly at all this week. I threw some fertilizer on it yesterday, Miracle Grow kind of stuff. And I swear those things shot up 2 inches overnight.
Wow.
We got blossom. Well, this is Minnesota. So, I mean, doesn't really mean much to say this to somebody who's not from Minnesota, but we do have blossoms on some of the tomato plants already.
Wow.
Further south you go, I mean, it wouldn't be a big deal. But here, I really feel like I planted everything from seed this year, which is a first. Usually I end up going to the garden place and buying things out of pots. But this year, everything I did from seed, I started them like in March and April indoors. So I tried that last year, but I didn't. It was the first time I really tried it, and I wasn't very successful. I learned from last year's mistakes. We've
I tried a garden one year, had all kinds of stuff, potatoes and tomatoes, and I forget what all. It was a bunch of different things, and I was so excited. It was so wonderful, and the food was real good. But next thing I know, I started getting critters eating everything. And that was the end of my gardening career. I couldn't figure out how to get them to stop eating everything I planted.
something ate all the leaves off the broccoli, but then I put a little extra fence around the broccoli now, and the leaves grew back. So they recovered. Last year, it was the peas that I lost. Something completely ate the peas off.
Wow.
I think I got a couple peas out of the deal, and then next time I went out there's nothing left. But kind
We
of
had
what they
go
leave
ahead.
alone. Pardon?
No, go ahead, I said.
You kind of find out what they leave alone here and what you're successful to keep out. I planted some marigolds because allegedly the rabbits don't like marigolds. I don't know if I put them thick enough or not, but we got a rabbit out here every morning. We throw sunflower seeds out onto the grass. I got a picture. I could send it to you. This morning there were three squirrels, two chipmunks, a rabbit, and two blue jays, all in one picture.
Oh, wow.
Well, in fact, I posted it on Facebook. If you go look at my feed, it's out there.
I will go look. That's so cool.
Pardon?
Everybody was getting along with each other and sharing the feast.
Yeah, we've got one white squirrel. He's all white, and he's really, I don't know what you call it, brave, aggressive, or whatever. And if he's not in the mood for some other critter to get close to him, he'll jump at him. And it's fun because he'll jump at the rabbit, and then the rabbit will jump straight up in the air. It's hilarious to watch. But he's a real easy one to spot because obviously, if he's all white, he stands out. He thinks he's
Sure.
hiding in green leaves, and we're going, no, we can still see you.
Now, is it a true albino? Don't they have red eyes if they're albino?
I don't know if I really looked that close, but there's a lot of them. There must be a genetic strain because we got a city park just down the street. that's along the river. It's got lots of woods and, stuff. And I go down there and I see several white squirrels down there. You can walk the paths and along the way you'll see several white squirrels. So I think it's just kind of a genetic strain we got right here.
Very cool. We were going to have a new gal join us this week. I think it was in Rethinking God with Tacos group we ran across her. I'm not sure. Somewhere she made a post about she's going through deconstruction and she misses being able to get with people because nobody's getting what she's believing now, which is that it's an all loving, all good God. And she was dying to be able to talk to people who could believe that and understand it. So I invited her to, along with some other links I gave her, I invited her to join this group. And she was messaging earlier like she was going to be there until about 10 minutes before the meeting and then said she wasn't going to be able to make it today. So hopefully she makes it back in. I'm sure she would be welcome here. Wouldn't you guys think?
No problem on my part.
Yep. Stacy also has been here before. You know who she is. And she said she's got Father's Day things going on. So she was going to try to join us after that. And I did think about that later that, that could be an issue for some people today, enjoying their kids or their kids enjoying them, which is great. I actually had to move it forward because we had a surprise birthday party for an 80-year-old neighbor today that was at 1 o'clock. So that's why I bumped it up to 3. And I thought, well, maybe it'll work better for some people. I know both of you are on a different time schedule than I am. So
I
3
just
is
got
not
done
as
with
late.
I just got done with lunch 10 minutes before this started, so it worked well for me.
Well, that's what I wanted to know. So maybe we'll try it again next week at 3. Does that time work okay with you, Forrest, as long as I can figure out how to get you an easy link?
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
All right, cool. Well, then we'll just keep it there because Stacy did say it didn't matter to her either time. So we'll try just keeping it there for a little while. Anything burning on anybody's heart they want to talk about, discuss, or ask questions about?
I had something on my mind, but I've kind of lost it now. Let me think about that.
Yeah, please chime in when you think of it. I'll give you, I'll tell you a little bit about the text message I got from my one daughter. I was starting to tell you that story earlier. I had something happen. It was actually on another Zoom call where I think it's called the Taco Cafe that Mo runs. And we were having a discussion, something about God or Jesus, I don't know. And at some point, Mo said, well, Steve's got it all figured out, but the rest of us are still trying to figure it out. And that just stuck with me for some reason until I finally got with Mo and I asked him, I said, man, I got to know. I said, I'm not offended or anything, but I just need to know when you made that comment, what were really your thoughts? He said, oh, I was just joking. I could have said that about any one of us. It was just a joke. And I said, well, that's all right. I just wanted to ask because I'm, been around enough years to know that how I think I come across and how I think I am may not be how somebody else sees me. So I just wanted to know if somebody really saw me that way because I don't think I'm that way. And I don't think I got it figured out at all. And so I decided to send a text to my family, including my daughters, and asked them that same question. I said, if you could do me a really big favor, I'm just curious. If you were going to describe me to one of your best friends, how would you describe me? What would you, say? And the one daughter who just tried to call me was one of the few people that have answered me so far, and my only daughter that's answered me so far, and brought me to tears. All I can tell you. It just made me think of she had got me a coffee mug a few years back that said best dad ever and might have been for Father's Day. I don't remember. But I know when I got it, I thought, well, Thank you, honey. That was very nice of you, but I know better. I'm not the best dad ever. I've made a lot of freaking mistakes and done a lot wrong. And it made me think of, isn't that what everybody says about God? You know, we say, yeah, we know he loves us, even likes us or whatever, but do we really think he likes us that much and loves us that much? And considering all the shit we've done and pulled, you know, and I thought, boy, that's kind of what she brought me to. She saw things and remembered things I didn't remember and looked over and forgave things that I thought too much of. So it was a very insightful and great Father's Day gift, in my opinion. Did you think of it yet, Larry? I stalled.
Oh, that's what you were doing. Sorta. Something happened this week. Now, the same daughter that I'm going to tell you about, she called this morning. She's 3.5 hours away. I don't expect her. And she's got her husband, who's also a father, that they're celebrating him. And they went there. His father is only an hour, a little over an hour from them. So they went and celebrated with his father yesterday. But anyway, she called me, and I think we probably talked for half an hour this morning. She gave me something to help with my writing because she wanted it for herself too, because she's trying to write fiction, which is incredible because she's a college professor, and you'd think she'd be too busy with all that kind of stuff but
Sure.
she reads a lot and she wants to write, and she said, well, I want to get this for myself, and I thought you should have it too. And so she gave me this writing tool. So a lot of the time we were talking about planting flowers, which I was watching my wife and daughter kind of continue planting flowers while I talked to the other daughter. Um, a lot of the time we were talking about writing and all the ins and outs of writing fiction, and how this tool might help both of us, and work with a lot of other things I've been paying for and getting involved in online and stuff, where we are in different projects. But speaking of projects, earlier this week, she called me and said, well, she texted me the day before saying, I need to pick your brain about youth faith formation in the home. And I go, wow, that's a
Yeah.
topic that she would come to me as kind of a subject matter expert, especially since she's my kid. And I don't think I did that great a job of doing youth faith formation in the home with my kids, because
I know where you're coming from.
they're they're very nominal when it comes to practicing faith. Um, but well, you know where I'm at too. It's kind of hard for me to judge them for not going to church when I'm very skeptical about things anyway. Um, but I'm, as you know, trying to work within the system and see what if I can make any positive impact. But anyway,
Sure.
she then she texted me, and I kept, popping some text to her, kind of seeing if there's anything she wants me to dig up ahead of time before she talks to me. And finally, a few days ago, kind of in the morning, she texted me and said, I'll explain to you about what we're thinking later today, and that will narrow it down. Because I was still kind of going, I wonder if this is about my grandson or what. Um, but she finally was able to spend, well, I mean, we were probably on the phone for a couple hours. Turns out she's friends with a woman who's a associate pastor at a church down there, and closely, a lot of the people that work at the University of Iowa attend that church. So there's a lot of academic types, and this associate pastor has seen a lot of people where the parents aren't able to help their kids learn to be resilient by leveraging their faith, the how to connect with God, Jesus, whatever, Holy Spirit, whatever, to be strong, have that resilience. And they want to write a curriculum that's going to help, that they kind of teach the parents, and maybe the parents together with their kids, to learn resilience through faith. And I think I was talking to her for just a little while, and it just jumped right into my brain. Hey, start with a book called Families Where Grace is in Place. And it's by a guy named Jeff Van Vonderen, who is a relatively famous person. Anybody raise your hand? You know Jeff Van Vonderen?
I do not.
No,
Have you ever heard of the show on A&E TV called Intervention?
no.
It's
Me
it's
neither, but I'll look it up.
well, I don't know. I mean, he's probably not still doing it, but for a while there, he became. I met him in the '80s. He came to our church and gave a series of talks, and it's basically based on his. He's got a series of talks that's basically another gospel is not the gospel, which is based on Galatians. And he grew up in one of those churches where it's all performance, look good, recite the Bible verses, be a good Christian kid, don't make waves. So one of his themes is and I told my daughter this, as I this is another series of tapes he does. It's called
Families
Family
building healthy people.
Helping People. Yeah. And one of the first things he says in the first CD on that set is, the problem is when people have troubles in their family or issues, challenges, whatever, what the church tends to do is turn around and give them oughtful information about what you ought to do or ought to be. And he says, what we need is graceful interaction. And one story he tells is of the father whose son was going to go off to summer camp. And the son wanted to take along the jackknife that his dad had just given him. But the dad said, no, I don't want you to take that because you might, hurt yourself and I'm not there and blah, 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 And the son kept insisting, and this eventually the father gave in and just gave him a bunch of instructions. And he went off to summer camp and cut himself and had to go to the infirmary or whatever. And Van Vonderen said, well, see, the problem there was he gave him information. He did not interact. He should have spent some time demonstrating and working with the kid over time. And it takes time and energy to invest it's easy to lay a bunch of information on people, relatively easy, but it's messier and more work. Another example he gave is where the one church did a deal where they had the parents and the kids together, and they did a bunch of projects together instead of having the traditional Sunday school where everybody's divided up by ages. And a bunch of the people complained that they were doing painting and stuff, and they got paint on God's carpet. I'm going, they did basically say they don't get it. The interaction that happened here was so much more valuable than whether you got some paint on God's carpet, right? But so anyway, I pointed those Jeff Van Vonderen out to her as a place to start. Then I went online and found some other things. There's one out there, Focus on the Family has one called Build for Resilience. And I'll have a look at that. They've got an online webinar coming up on July 23rd. So I'll watch that for her and see if I can pull anything out of there without spending money. I'm not going to spend my money on her project. But um, so I'm looking forward to see how this comes out. When I talked to her this morning, I said, "You guys done anything on it?" And she said, "No, not. They haven't done anything." But
Now I can't remember, Larry. Are you part of the Rethinking God with Tacos group? Have you ever been part of that?
I I connected with the Facebook group.
Okay.
I haven't posted anything out there. I don't think. I mean,
That's all
well,
right. The reason I brought it up, a couple things on this with the kids. I just think it's incredibly intriguing that you brought this up. Um, Jason Clark, the guy who does Rethinking God with Tacos, I believe just released a whole new series of books, I think it is, developed just for children and introducing them to Christ and the story and all that. So something you might want to look into, or she might want to look into. And then the one of the last Taco Cafe Zoom calls I was on, one of the mothers that was on there brought up a similar thing, that her children were asking her questions about God and Jesus, and she just was not sure how to go about starting that conversation and how to answer their questions. And this is going to be horrible. And I think I've already warned you guys about this. I told you about my very bad CRS, right? You know what that is.
uh,
Refresh my memory.
Can't remember shit.
Oh, okay.
CRS, I can't remember shit. So I'm not going to be good at the details. But I could go out and find out if I need to. But anyway, a couple of them had some really good answers when it came, I thought, when it came to dealing with that with young children. And it was, I guess, to the best I can remember, it was based on a couple of things. And I think, somewhat along the lines of what you were saying, Larry, keep it simple and get their involvement in it. Don't make it this huge, long library list of things. And the other was kind of turn it back to them and ask them what they think about that question. What do they think the answer is? And I think somebody had actually done that with a child or grandchild. And the answers that came back were like, okay, out of the mouth of babes.
mhm.
Jesus said, come to me like a child. And so interesting you brought that subject up, made me think of those two things, Larry.
Yeah, back to I meant to tell you more interesting things about Jeff Van Vonderen too. He was an interventionist, so he did a lot of uh, interventions for with families where they get together and say ultimatum kind of thing for the person who's suffering with or struggling with addictions, and A&E made a series out of it. Well, his face became famous enough so that he was actually featured on South Park, where they joked about his mustache. He's got
Oh, I'll
this.
be darned.
And then another thing that he made it into popular culture is he was mentioned in a song by Eminem, or I don't know what you want to call it, a song. A hip hop.
Yeah.
He's a rapper, but he made some comment in some song about Jeff Van Vonderen's mustache in one of his songs or something. So he's a little bit of a pop culture icon, I guess.
How about that?
When I think of mustaches, I think of two people. One's fictional and one's Jeff Van Vonderen. That with the big.
Has he got like one of
The,
those big handlebar ones or
no,
something?
it's just kind of a
Big
thick,
bushy.
bushy mustache that kind of stands out. He's out. If you go on YouTube, one video of his I've watched several times, mainly because I talk to people about him and then they go back and watch it for the heck of it. Um, you go out and just Google Jeff Van Vonderen and YouTube, and he's got one called, I think it's Your Position in Christ, Understanding Your Identity in Christ. And he starts out talking about, he lives in northern Wisconsin, and he's talking about, the wildlife. And so sometimes I tell people, if you don't want to hear about the wild turkeys and stuff, just skip forward to about 7 minutes into his talk, but he tells some, he was comparing eagles and geese and wild turkeys. I think it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Anyway, I left him a phone message. He hasn't got back to me. I wanted to get his ideas. Maybe he knows some people who created curriculums like they're looking for and get some ideas. So I could send him an email, but I'm going to wait a while and see if he does get around to calling me back. I started my conversation with him. I said, yeah, every few years I got to get back to you because I always come up with another question. So,
Well, I certainly don't claim any great wisdom on how to approach young children with this subject, but I will say I can't think of a better time to start with that with them if we can figure out the right way to do it as young children.
well, and the other part of it is though, just uh, really she's looking for a curriculum for help the parents know what to do, know what to say, know how to interact. And I think its main thing is you got to get the interaction in there. You got to, and I've said, well, I've been preaching on that for a long time about, the problem with churches is you sit your fanny in a pew and look at the guy talking, and that's all you got. Because there's no real, in a lot of parish, particularly the Catholic Church, you walk in, you do your thing with God, and you leave. And
Yeah.
you don't interact. There's no horizontal relationship. They'll say, "Oh, you got to come back for the other things, the other parts of the week." And I go, "Let's get real. Most of these people are going to come once a week, and that's it. You're not going to get it back in here
If you can get
another
them to
day
do
of the
that.
week. You're lucky you're getting that. So if you want
One of
them
you
to,
guys, one of you guys brought up in this meeting along that line on the subject, the idea of a speed dating kind of thing at church.
that was
And
me.
somebody who heard one of our videos or meetings or came in late just loved that idea. Thought that was fantastic. And I can see the logic in it.
Well, the
I
thing,
told my daughter that idea too. I said, yeah, you do it several rounds so that you give people a chance to go back to people they didn't finish what they might have had when the bell rang and they moved forward. They were into something that, yeah, I'd like to go back and finish that topic.
Amen. What were you
well,
going to say, Forrest?
one of the things that I find interesting about this whole concept of family is culturally, no one's addressing the fact that there is no more family. It's a biological unit. We're an anomic society where everybody is scattered all over creation. And like Larry brought up, there's no interaction in the traditional church setting. No one gets to know each other. And I mean, the thing of it is, I think that we were designed to help each other in getting through this life. And we don't need more books. We just need to communicate with one another and bring I mean, the thing that frustrates me the most about organized religion is I've never heard a sermon in my 50 years in that corrupt system where any preacher was talking about the demise of the family. I never have. And it's gone. It is
Yeah.
gone. I mean, you got organized sports. I mean, I hear people complaining on the internet about we're gone all the time. There's no interaction between husband, wife, family, kids, etc., etc. None. And nobody's addressing this. And the thing that the I'm not trying to be disruptive here, but where you brought up the kid's dad talking to his knife, I think probably that was one of the best lessons that kid could have learned. It didn't cut off a finger. It could have. I mean, maybe the dad could have been a little more forceful and said, "Nope, you're not taking that to camp," which I probably would have done. But the thing of it is, the kid learned a valuable lesson here. He maybe have to listen to my old man. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, it doesn't take a book to figure this one out, you know?
Right.
And
That's the point that Van Vanderen is making. We so often we throw a book at people. Here, read this. When what we really need is the people to sit down together and interact. And even better than just sitting down and talking is going out and doing something together.
yeah, I'm with you, Larry.
In fact, what creates camaraderie, of course, is going through a challenge together. That's why guys in military units often stay friends for their whole lives, because they've been through battle together. They've had each other's backs. They have to have each other's backs. You don't join a military unit and decide one day, I'm not going to hang out with these guys, because when you're deciding not to hang out with these guys, you're deciding they aren't going to have your back either.
Right.
So
I love that,
it's
Larry.
self-preservation to have their backs because you want them to have yours.
Yeah, I love that analogy, because you got to have each other's back.
And it doesn't matter what their mustache looks like or the color of their skin or their beliefs either.
Right. I mean,
No,
what I'm finding interesting, and what is it going to take for the religious to understand that their paradigm of church ain't cutting it?
right.
Well,
I mean, I see all these articles about these preachers and everything else whining and sniveling and bitching and moaning about how nobody's doing anything in the church. It's a corrupt system. It is, and there's
Well,
no interaction there.
they got to look at where the rewards are. Who's getting rewarded for what? Where's the money going?
The reward is they get paid, Larry. As
Right.
simple as that.
And what are they getting paid for?
Not much.
And you know, they're trying to draw the crowds, so of course they're trying to be entertaining, and the people they're attracting, they know they don't want to challenge them or ask them to take any risk, so of course they got to bribe them, create community by offering coffee and, you know, all this, when that's just not, you know, if they're not challenged, they're not really going to be like a military unit. A lot of the problem is, as adults, everything is voluntary. When you're a kid, you have to make friends because you're forced into groups. And if you don't make friends with the people you're forced into the groups, you're not going to survive. You're going to be miserable. But as adults,
Somebody just poked their head in the door, Larry, if you didn't see it. I'm not sure whether it was a wife or daughter, but somebody poked their head. Hopefully we didn't scare them. I
Yeah.
think I
Yeah,
think you guys are onto something. And you know what I'm hearing? A new church called Interaction Church. It's
There
all
you
about
go.
connection.
Yes, it is.
Can
It's
you imagine?
relational.
Yeah, a church that focused on that. You know, heck, spend the whole hour service. I mean, if you got to give a sermon, make it 5 minutes and spend the
Yes,
rest of the time on interaction and the importance of the connection going on with each other.
absolutely.
I think you guys got something.
well, we don't need new churches. We got plenty of them. We just need to change the ones we got.
Good luck with that, Larry.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm in there.
You got my support. If I can help in any way, let me know.
Yeah.
I just got to figure out where Archimedes' lever should go. Give me the right fulcrum and the right place to stand, and I can move the planet.
But you know, what I
Good.
found is the people that move away from organized religion move away from God. Simple as that. For the majority of them in my life, anyway. I'm talking about my experience here in Laramie. All my friends that have left the church, they're just kind of whatever. You know, I mean, they're not,
Almost atheism.
well, not atheism, but more agnostic, or God will
Yeah.
do whatever he's going to do. You know, and I mean, that's
You become a deist.
yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be a
But
good word for it.
one analogy or one illustration I've used is once you've kind of hooked up with God, um, he puts a fish hook in your belt, and then he hands a fishing rod to an angel, and the angel hits the button, on the old Zebco rod and reel, and they just let you go as far as you go, and then when you get into trouble and you start begging for help, they click the thing and start reeling you in. So those people who've been with God at one time, yeah, you can worry about them, but very often they're going to hit a spot where, hey, reel me in, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been there.
Sometimes it's going
I
through
think
that despair that you find
I
that true
thought of that
connection again.
illustration because of myself.
You know, guys, I'm really loving this conversation, and I hope you keep it going, but I'm going to ask a favor of you because it is Father's Day.
And
What
you have
I'm
a
going to
daughter to
do,
talk to.
I'm going to call both those daughters back, but I'm going to leave the Zoom meeting open. And if you guys choose to keep talking, I can come back and hear it after I'm done. But I'm going to blank my screen and mute my mic so I don't disturb your discussion. But man, keep going as long as you can, and even Stacy might pop in. Who knows? But I'm loving the path you're going down right now, as far as I'm concerned.
I'll leave it up to Forrest. I'm sure my family wouldn't mind it if I kept it at an hour, but I'm willing to keep talking.
All
Well,
right.
I'm able to, Larry, for a little bit anyway.
I'm going to make my phone calls, but I'll come back and listen to whatever you guys discuss. Thank you.
Still here. So yeah, um, I've just I've got my little set of what do they call them? The boxes they stand on to give their speeches. Uh,
Soap boxes?
yeah, I got my soapboxes to stand on with my items I feel are critical to helping churches get to do what they should be doing. Because it's easier to know what you're about and go in a church that isn't doing it and try to leverage to make it happen than to keep hunting and hunting and hunting and hunting, trying to find that church that's got it together.
It's
Because
musical chairs. That's all it is, Larry.
well, I mean, we've been through dozens of churches because we've moved around a bit, and you just get tired of searching.
Yeah, you
You
do.
don't know how long to keep going back to them to see if you can find whether they really got it or not. We've been to maybe two churches where we thought they really had it, but because of moving around, we had to leave them. So
Well, you're luckier than I am because I'm not found two. I'm not even found one yet.
I mean, we had differences with them. I mean, they weren't perfect. I mean,
Well, nobody is,
but like the one was a Christian Missionary Alliance Church, and um, one of the reasons we left is because of our kids. It was so small at the time that there weren't any kids our kids' age, so they were basically they were their own Sunday school class. And I'm going, I want my kids to have a peer group in the church.
You probably should have talked to
okay.
him.
Hey, Larry, I gotta go. My son
Okay.
called, so I gotta take off. So, but it was a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Okay, take care.
You bet.
Enjoy. Happy Father's Day. Bye.
Same to you.